Trump is still indefinitely extending his ceasefire, so is he waiting for a consensus within Iran? Is that consensus ever going to happen? Clearly, it's not going to happen. So if it's not going to happen, why does he keep extending the ceasefire without any limits? So today, let's talk about Trump's strategy of sowing discord. Secondly, even though Iran no longer has a fleet or a navy in the Gulf, how is it still able to run rampant in the Strait of Hormuz in the Persian Gulf? What is it relying on? What exactly is a bait fleet? So when Trump ordered the elimination of the shadow team, how exactly was that supposed to be done? Also, the day before, the U.S. Secretary of the Navy was still busy running around, but the next day he was out of a job. So what really happened? And who is the new Secretary of the Navy? This is a pretty interesting topic. All right, welcome to Good Morning America with Fang Wem. Hi, I'm Fang Wei. To all our YouTube viewers, hello, and to our listeners on Sound of Hope, Silicon Valley FM 96.1, a warm welcome to you all. Let's talk about this. So what's going on in the Gulf countries, specifically the Persian Gulf? After Iran's navy was completely wiped out, they're still attacking yachts and cargo ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Around April 22nd, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard deployed several speedboats to open fire on commercial vessels passing through the strait, and they successfully seized at least 2 ships. This has caused major trouble and threats for these commercial ships, and actually, some are still trapped there. There are over 100 ships and more than 20,000 crew members involved. So how is Iran able to pull this off without any naval vessels? Also, the U.S. Department of Defense mentioned in a briefing that Iran has deployed more than 20 naval mines in and around the Strait of Hormuz. They don't have a navy either, so how did they lay those mines? What are they relying on? They're relying on what's called Iran's shadow fleet. The shadow fleet? Huh? What does that mean? Maybe you've seen this diagram. It refers to small boats. Actually, Iran has 2 navies. One is called the Blue Water Navy, also known as the regular Navy, and the second is the Littoral Navy, which is actually the Revolutionary Guard Navy. This Revolutionary Guard Navy, within it, there's a unit called the Fast Boat Force. To explain this, we have to go back to the Iran-Iraq War in 1980, when Iran and Iraq were fighting each other. At that time, Iran not only lacked air superiority, but it was also short on large warships. Back then, many Saudi and Kuwaiti tankers that supported Iraq needed to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. So in order to stop these massive tankers, what could Iran do if it didn't have enough large warships? So they launched what was called a small boat harassment campaign, using those really small boats mounted with machine guns. They would quickly approach, fire, and then retreat, basically hit-and-run tactics to disrupt the shipping of tankers and cargo ships. This was the origin of Iran's so-called fast boat tactics at the time. Later on, they realized this trick was pretty effective. It was low cost and very flexible, and the other side really couldn't handle it. So they started to buy and copy large numbers of these small fast boats, ranging from rubber dinghies to slightly bigger ones. As a result, this approach evolved. What started as guerrilla-style harassment turned into a full-fledged, organized naval combat force at sea, which, as you can imagine, looked pretty intimidating. So what about these boats? They can be equipped with just about anything. You can mount machine guns, rocket launchers, even anti-tank rocket tubes, and sometimes even anti-ship missiles. They can even be used to lay mines. Of course, up to now, as far as we know, not a single mine has actually been found. But now, Iran really might start laying mines, and they're relying on this so-called shadow fleet to do it. After the 1990s, specifically after the Gulf War in 1990 and 1991, when the U.S. fought that war, Iran saw Iraq's defeat and realized there was no way they could go head-to-head with the U.S. Navy in a traditional naval battle. So they started investing heavily in what they call their shadow fleet. They use a large number of small, high-speed boats together with shore-based missiles and drones to create what's called a swarm tactic. The English term is swarm tactics. Actually, before this war, they had about 3,000 to 5,000 of these vessels. There are all kinds of speedboats, from tiny, ultra-small rubber boats to larger armed speedboats. Normally, these boats hide in coastal caves, underground docks, or disguised bases. But once war breaks out, they rush out quickly. When they rush out, dozens of small boats charge toward the target at high speed all at once, surrounding it from multiple directions and creating a saturation attack. No matter how the other side fights back, if the opponent isn't just a pleasure boat but an American warship, even then, the warship can only take them out one by one, right? Yeah, with so many small boats, they can spread out. This makes it harder for the enemy to intercept them with their firepower. In the end, some of the boats could even carry explosives and manage to reach the target. So, using these cheap, small platforms to threaten high value targets like aircraft carriers, warships, or even oil tankers is kind of like having drones on the water. It's a way to create a cost asymmetry in combat. So, what happened? Trump, today, he tweeted an order saying, I have instructed the U.S. Navy to open fire and sink any vessels laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, even if they're small boats, no exceptions. Trump went on to say that all 159 of their warships are now lying at the bottom of the sea, so there must be absolutely no hesitation. That's what Trump said. Of course, what Trump meant here was basically imitating what happened off the coast of Venezuela back then. They went to attack what they called drug-running ships, and at the time they used this kind of thing called the Type 9, which is a drone, and it carried something called. Yeah, that's right. They would find the target, and then a missile, just one missile, would take out an entire ship. Well, because those ships are really small, each missile only costs about $100,000 to $150,000. So the cost difference compared to the Iranian boats isn't that big. It's not like having to use a Patriot missile, which costs $3 million to shoot down a $30,000 drone. It's about the same now, around $100,000 to take out something worth $50,000. So the cost difference really isn't that big. It's manageable. They can afford it. So basically, off the coast of Venezuela, they attacked ships. As you know, in the end, they hit more than 20 ships and killed over 100 people. So, using the same tactics, in fact, if you've been following my recent shows, you should remember that I said at a certain point, Trump would have to do the same thing, take out those small boats one by one from the air. So, what happened next? Trump said our minesweepers are clearing the Strait of Hormuz, and he ordered this operation. This operation is the one where they attack those small boats, the so-called Mosquito boats, to continue and to be strengthened threefold. Thank you all for paying attention to this matter. So, just to clarify, Mosquito here refers to the small boats. Did I make that clear earlier? Okay, good. So, this is the latest situation currently unfolding in the Strait of Hormuz. Another situation is that while the U.S. Navy is enforcing a blockade at sea, there was a sudden major shakeup among the Navy's top brass. On April 22nd, which was just yesterday, the Pentagon announced that Secretary of the Navy Maudley would immediately leave the current administration. The Deputy Secretary, named Cao Hong, which actually sounds like a Chinese name, will serve as the acting Secretary of the Navy. Who is Cao Hong? We'll talk about that in a bit. However, the White House did not give any reason for this change. The order came from the Department of Defense, but no explanation was provided. They also didn't reveal whether he was forced out or resigned on his own. As for this Fravor, he was actually an ally of Trump. At the end of 2024, he was nominated by Trump to serve as Secretary of the Navy. Before that, he had no leadership experience in the military at all. He was an important fundraiser and donor for Trump's campaign, and he also founded a private investment firm called. His main contact with the military was through a grant he gave to a nonprofit organization called American Spirit. He served as an advisor to this organization. At that time, American Spirit mainly supported the defense of Ukraine and Taiwan. So then, why exactly was he dismissed? Why is no one talking about the reason? Actually, as we've all seen, a few weeks ago, Hagesides already relieved the Army Chief of Staff, of his duties. As I mentioned before, since taking office last year, Hagesides has already fired several high-ranking generals, Navy admirals, and other leaders in the Department of Defense. So there was a report on this, and I went back and forth to check it out. I think this report is probably accurate, so today I'll talk about what really happened behind the scenes. It says that Farron and Defense Secretary Haig's sides have always had conflicts. Haig's sides thinks Farron has been too slow in pushing for naval shipbuilding reforms, and he's also unhappy that Farron often bypasses him to go directly to Trump, since the two of them knew each other before. So a senior White House official revealed that yesterday, all of this happened within a single day at the White House. Trump and Haig's sides had a conversation specifically about the shipbuilding issue. Trump was also dissatisfied with the slow progress in shipbuilding. Haig's side successfully convinced Trump that they should replace the person in charge. So right after that, Haig's sides went back and informed Farron that if he didn't resign voluntarily, he would be fired. He was really shocked. He said, Just yesterday I was still out inspecting things, still working, and today I'm out of a job. So he quickly called White House officials to ask if the president knew about this, and he was told by two people that yes, the president knew. But he still couldn't believe it, so he tried to contact the president himself. Trump told him to come over, so yesterday he went straight to the White House, to the West Wing lobby, and Trump did meet with him and told him, yes, that's right. I'm asking you to resign. All right, so that's the story. Why am I telling you this story? Well, it's not that this particular incident is all that important, but I want to talk to everyone about Trump's leadership style. This is exactly how he leads. He makes decisions very quickly. Ignoring political correctness, he changes what's needed. This drives his team's efficiency and explains why Trump replaced so many people, unlike Biden, who replaced almost no one in his first 4 years. Almost none, or over 4 years, he hardly replaced anyone. Trump, on the other hand, was constantly changing people. Of course, you could criticize that and say, Trump, you keep hiring the wrong people, so you have to keep replacing them. But that's just one way to look at it. There's another perspective, too. He's constantly optimizing his team. So from another angle, which do I think is better? Personally, I think the latter is better. What about you? Do you think Trump's constant staff changes are an advantage, a weakness, or a flaw? How about we do a quick poll? Let's see what everyone's impression is, because it's really not easy to accurately predict Trump. After all, he's never been a politician. He was just a real estate developer, then a media personality, and of course, a very successful businessman. I often see things online, of course, some of it is just propaganda, where people say things like, how can you let a businessman who went bankrupt 6 times run America? I want to clarify something. Everyone knows Trump filed for bankruptcy a total of 6 times. Did that really happen? It's very likely. I think it was 5 or 6 times. I remember it being 5. So what does 5 to 6 times mean? It was 5 or 6 of Trump's companies that went bankrupt. So you might think, wow, Trump failed 5 or 6 times. Can he really be trusted? On what basis do you call him successful? Trump actually has over 250 companies in total. Out of 250 companies, only 5 or 6 went bankrupt. Think about it. What's that success rate? You know, in the US, about 80% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. So in this case, out of Trump's 250 companies, 245 didn't go bankrupt. What kind of success rate is that? So if you only focus on one side of the issue, of course you can make it look like something else entirely. It's like the blind men and the elephant. So I just wanted to mention this perspective in passing because this kind of view is circulating online. A lot of what I see is just nonsense, really. If a company doesn't work out, you just shut it down. In the US, that's a very common and easy thing to do. If 5 of his companies went bankrupt, that doesn't mean Trump lost all his wealth each time. That's not how it works. His other companies were all doing just fine. If a company isn't doing well, you just close it down. It's as simple as that. So it's the company that's bankrupt, not Trump personally. Okay, so let me just say, as everyone can see, then Trump posted an announcement congratulating Cao Hong on becoming the US Secretary of the Navy. Who is Cao Hong? Well, Cao Hong is actually quite young, born in 1971 in Vietnam, so he's only 55 this year. He was 4 years old in 1975. When Vietnam fell, as a refugee, he fled Vietnam with his parents, most likely risking their lives at sea, escaping as boat people, maybe to Hong Kong or somewhere else. That same year, they arrived in the United States. Later on, he went to study at the United States Naval Academy. That's the same school as Yu Mao Chun, the one where Yu Mao Chun teaches. He later earned a master's degree in physics there. After that, he served in the U.S. Navy for 25 years, mainly as an officer in the Navy SEALs, with a wealth of real combat experience. When he retired, he left the service with the rank of Navy captain. By the way, in the Navy, it's called captain, not colonel. That's the Army. In 2022, he ran as a Republican candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives from Virginia, but was unsuccessful. In 1985, he was nominated by Trump to serve as the Deputy Secretary of the Navy. As we all know, whether it's the previously mentioned Fallon or Cao Hong, neither of them were military personnel. The U.S. Secretary of the Navy must be a civilian, though it's even better if they're a former service member. But you don't have to be. For example, Fallon was just an investor, yet he could still serve as Secretary of the Navy. This is what they call civilian leadership over the military. It's the structure of the U.S. Armed Forces. Then, because Fallon was suddenly dismissed, he was promoted to acting secretary. Trump even tweeted specifically about this. Why did Sheng Zhensheng and Cao Hong choose him? Because Trump really admired his background. Trump saw him as a classic embodiment of the American dream. Why? Well, he had 3 main qualities. First, he was a refugee who escaped from communist Vietnam, and now he had become an officer in the U.S. Navy. So he symbolized a strong anti-communist stance. Second, he has extensive hands-on military experience. Trump likes to have soldiers run the military. He wants warriors to manage the armed forces. That's his philosophy when it comes to choosing people. He doesn't want those career bureaucrats, the kind who are always detached and out of touch. He wants leaders at the Pentagon who have actually been on the ground with the troops. A classic example of this is Secretary of Defense Hagel, right? Hagel was actually a low-ranking officer. A low-ranking officer who later led five-star generals, that's Trump for you. He really does things differently when it comes to picking people. You all probably remember that when Hagel was nominated, there were rumors about him drinking with people in California and some scandals, right? His Senate confirmation hearings were really tough at the time. Back then, they really went after him. Some senators who were full of doubts at the time later came back to Trump and said, "How are you so good at picking people? Look at Hagel. He's been Secretary of Defense up to now, and the Department of Defense has performed really well under him. There haven't been any scandals, no major problems, whether it's the so-called Iron Hammer or whatever else you want to call it. Syria, Venezuela, and so on, including the war with Iran, were all handled really well." So Trump really is unconventional when it comes to appointing people. Third, when it comes to the current high-intensity blockade against Iran, Trump needs tough, decisive people to take charge of the Navy, especially by putting a former Navy officer in charge, which is obviously better than having an investor run things. But anyway, that's how things stand right now. So as you can see, this is another example of a foreign immigrant. He's a first-generation immigrant, by the way. A first-generation immigrant can become the Secretary of the Navy in the U.S., and this is probably a first for this position. So speaking of immigration, let me mention something else. There's been some recent news. I'll just sum it up in one sentence, but it's pretty important. The Department of Homeland Security has announced that it's scaling back large-scale deportation operations and starting to roll back some of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, policies. This includes measures like arresting undocumented immigrants directly in court, as well as conducting home raids to detain undocumented immigrants. That's the latest update. Anyway, no matter how you look at it, the United States is actually in a very, how should I put it? I think, the United States is at the center, once again, at the center of things in such a position. So this country, Trump's strategy in the Middle East, Trump is tough. And on top of that, he uses divide and conquer tactics. As you all know, over the 2 days of the 19th and 20th, the U.S. intercepted 2 Iranian oil tankers. One of them was a cargo ship. After that, in the past 2 days, Iran has also seized 4 of its own oil tankers. All of this happened near Malaysia and Sri Lanka in the Indian Ocean. In short, the U.S. has already expanded its reach, broadened its coverage area. So in the past week, the U.S. military has confirmed that 5 or 6 oil tankers or vessels related to Iran have been intercepted, detained, or redirected. So this shows that the U.S. is now globally tracking Iran's shadow fleet. And in this team, aside from the incident where they fired before boarding the Tosca and took out its engine room, all the other boardings were carried out peacefully without encountering any resistance. And according to the U.S. Central Command, a total of 29 ships have already turned around or returned to Iranian ports. This is part of the U.S. blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Of course, the media, Bloomberg reported yesterday, and the Financial Times also mentioned that 35 Iranian ships have successfully broken through the blockade and transported 10.7 million barrels of crude oil. Is that really the case? Well, the U.S. Central Command has already come out and said that's not true at all, that it's completely made up. They called it pure fabrication. And as for the specific ships listed by name, they checked 3 of them one by one. All these so-called ships that supposedly broke through the blockade are actually just sitting obediently in Iranian ports inside the Strait of Hormuz. So now this brings up another issue. During the Iran war, many mainstream U.S. media outlets in the Gulf region, they just don't want people to see through their game, so that things they say really make people feel anxious and on edge. Do you believe them or not? You look at their reports, you look at the Financial Times or Bloomberg's coverage, and you still wonder if they're trying to fool you. It's really exhausting just trying to keep up with the news, isn't it? Should it be like this? Of course not. The news media should make people feel at ease, because the most reassuring thing is having reliable news sources, right? Otherwise, what's the point of what we're doing? If we just put out unreliable stuff and make everyone anxious, then what's the purpose? People might as well find information themselves then. We can't change that. It's just how it is. This ideological stance in news reporting is a very wrong, unprofessional approach, not a matter of style. It's simply not right. All right, so now Trump is on one hand imposing a complete economic blockade and at the same time indefinitely halting the ceasefire. Both are happening at once. So why have an indefinite ceasefire? Well, Trump also tweeted that they're just waiting for them to come to the negotiating table. So they're just waiting for them to come to negotiate. He hopes that after they reach what's called a consensus, then they'll come to negotiate. The White House has also made it clear and said, do we know who's really calling the shots behind the scenes? They said, of course we know. He said, so everyone shouldn't listen to the nonsense coming from Iran. We obviously know who it is. So when a decision comes from that person, we know that's the one that counts. So that's one aspect. The US is still waiting for Iran to come to the negotiating table. Secondly, I think Trump really believes that besieging a city is better than attacking it outright. He thinks that by imposing this blockade, it will deal the biggest blow to Iran. Right now, there have already been changes within Iran. We've already reported this to everyone. The moderates can't beat the hardliners, and the reason is simple. Political power comes from the barrel of a gun, right? In many ways, Iran is just like the Chinese Communist Party. All right, but even so, with the hardliners in power, let's say Khamenei is in charge, then in just 4 more days, by April 27th, Iran's oil tanks will be full. Once the tanks are full, what are they going to do? They can only stop production, right? But stopping production is really difficult. If your oil tanks are full, you can't keep pumping, and that means absolutely no income every single day. The key issue isn't just here, because as everyone knows, with oil, the oil sits on top and water is underneath. As long as the oil keeps flowing and being extracted, the water stays trapped below. But once you stop refining the oil and everything comes to a halt, then the water might start seeping upward, even mixing into the oil. In the end, when you try to extract it again, you'll end up pumping out both oil and water together. It all comes out together. That just messes everything up, right? The quality of the oil becomes a problem. That's one issue. This is called. Secondly, there's paraffin in the oil. Now, during the extraction process, the oil well is actually hot, so this paraffin, it won't solidify. It'll stay liquid and get pumped out, so there's no problem. But if you stop extracting, once it cools down, the paraffin is just like what happens on the walls of blood vessels. What do you call it? Like a blood clot forming? It will solidify into lumps, blocking the blood vessels, or in this case, blocking the oil pipes and the oil well itself. That's the second issue. The third point is that an oil well is actually a very, very delicate system. The whole thing, water, oil, gas, each has its own structure. So when everything is running normally, the balance between them is just right. Once you stop production and shut down the oil well, if you stop extracting, the pressure might redistribute. This could cause water to rise, gas to escape, and in the end, even the formation itself could compress and shift. At that point, if you try to reopen it, the oil output would drop sharply, and it could even go from a free-flowing well to one that doesn't produce at all. That would be a huge problem. So all of Iran's oil wells are old wells. They really can't handle much disruption. That's the issue Iran is facing. Some viewers have asked, would Iran just dump oil directly into the Gulf? Oh my, no way. They wouldn't dare do that, right? That would be way over the line. Yeah, that would really destroy the planet and the environment. Anyway, no matter what, the Iranian hardliners just issued a major statement. This is what Vahidi said. Vahidi said, we are not interested in any peace negotiations. But we are preparing for the next stage of the war. The presence of any U.S. military bases in the Middle East will not be tolerated. He's already been beaten down to the point of being a drowned rat, yet he still insists on acting like he's on top of everyone else. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, that's just how he is. That's the attitude of these doomsday believers, these hardliners. Then today, Trump tweeted, listen to me, this is Trump's way of sowing discord. Trump said Iran has no idea who their real leader is right now. They just don't realize that the hardliners are losing ground on the battlefield, and even though the moderates aren't really moderate at all, they're the ones earning respect. The infighting between these two factions is just insane. We have complete control over the Strait of Hormuz. No ship, absolutely no ship, can enter or leave the strait without the approval of the U.S. Navy. It's been tightly sealed off, and it'll stay that way until Iran reaches an agreement. So even though it's actually the hardliners who have taken power, Trump says they're losing ground. Even though the moderates have already been suppressed, Trump claims they're the ones gaining respect. This is just playing one faction against the other, trying to get the moderates in charge so negotiations might be possible. So Trump also says that Iran's finances are collapsing. Soldiers and police are all complaining that they haven't been paid. Is that true? I think it definitely is, and it's not just happening now, they probably haven't been paid for several months. Trump also said today that the second round of US-Iran talks could restart as soon as tomorrow, Friday, and that the ceasefire period might be extended until Sunday, but the blockade won't be eased. He went on to say that there are serious divisions within Iran. He's planning to hold off on any strikes and wait for Taiwan to come up with a unified proposal, basically after they finish arguing among themselves. Of course, I think he's just saying that. As for whether there will actually be talks tomorrow, if you ask me to be objective, I really don't think there will be. But Trump will still say, hey, why is that? I'll explain in a bit. Meanwhile, even as Trump talks about how there will be negotiations tomorrow and so on, a large number of U.S. Air Force aerial refueling planes are pouring into the Middle East. Right now, there are a lot of flight tracking or data monitoring websites that are publishing real-time updates, and they're showing that a huge number of U.S. Air Force tankers are heading straight for the Middle East. So Israeli media have also reported that the U.S. has already informed Israel, and the actual deadline given to Iran is this Sunday, when fighting could resume. Also, you can see that all the military aircraft are avoiding Spanish and Italian airspace. This point is actually related to another piece of news I'll talk about later, which is connected to Europe. All right, what I want to say is, when Trump speaks, he's often actually addressing his opponents. He's not talking to people like you and me, just spectators. People like us aren't important to him. For many politicians, spectators like us, the media's audience, are very important, but not for Trump. He's not a politician. He doesn't care about public opinion. When he does things or says things, it's just to get things done. And when Trump speaks, it represents a huge force that can shift the landscape. That's the situation. So when Trump says that Xi Jinping is his good friend, or that Kim Jong-un is his good friend, or that Putin is his good friend, and so on, his goal is simply to make deals and achieve what he wants. That's one thing people often misunderstand. Secondly, Trump admires strongmen, and that's the truth. Trump admires strongmen. He often says that dictators are very impressive, but that doesn't mean he agrees with their values. He just appreciates their toughness and willingness to get things done. That's what he means. Being tough in itself isn't right or wrong, is it? There's such a thing as good toughness. There's also bad toughness. Trump just admires their toughness, that's all. But sometimes this admiration is for the toughness of dictators, and that makes a lot of people really angry when they hear it. Like, you're basically just like them, because we can't really tell the difference, right? If you say a dictator is tough, aren't you just agreeing with the dictator? He doesn't agree with dictators. He only admires their toughness. That's where we can easily misread him. So Trump is not an easy person to read. Honestly, in my opinion, he's hard to figure out, so it takes time to really see his true character. Only after a long time can you accurately understand what he really means when he speaks.